What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. It is September 18th, 2021, and this is episode 391 of Off the Script. I am JD from New York, and we have a lot to go over this week on the podcast. It was another very, very busy week. We had AEW announce their Grand Slam show in New York City. Major card happening not only on Wednesday night, but Friday night as well. NXT had the rebranding or the relaunch, the unnecessary relaunch of NXT 2.0 is what it's now being called until further notice. They relaunched on Tuesday night. A lot of questionable decisions made on that show. It certainly did not look the same. It did not feel the same. And I got a lot of stuff that's coming out of that show. So we're going to go over that on the podcast as well. And then the big story this week is a lot of people were apparently upset at people in the community like myself in regards to Big E winning the WWE Championship. I don't know why people are upset at me. I don't know why people are upset at me for wanting something better. I think people always interpret me wanting something better as me complaining. I think me wanting something better in the eyes of people on the outside, they look at it as if I'm never happy. And that's not the case at all. Because I see right through what WWE did on Monday, and it's not an instance in which WWE has done this on Monday only. They've done this year after year after year. They've used tactics, desperate tactics, to generate interest in what is a creatively dying product. And what they did on Monday is something that was unnecessary, something that they've already should have known going in was going to fail. And then they ruined a moment for somebody that we all collectively, universally love. A moment that he'll never get back. So his WWE Championship was soured because WWE needed him to do it because of other factors that they clearly are worried about. So how genuine was Big E winning the WWE Championship? The happiness towards him was genuine. But I'm concerned about the genuineness of it from WWE's point of view. That's the big story today. Also, this Adam Cole news that apparently everybody is jumping down Dave Meltzer's throat about. Apparently, Dave Meltzer reported that Adam Cole was supposed to go to the main roster and manage a heel Keith Lee. Ringside News reported it. Meltzer backed them up. I absolutely believe everything about it. Adam Cole said he never heard anything about these particular rumors. He never heard any creative plans like this for him. All he knows is that he spoke to Vince McMahon for 30 minutes and things went well. But everybody jumped down Dave Meltzer's throat about it. Why? Was Meltzer wrong about it? Was Ringside News wrong about it? I don't think so. I honestly think that everything Ringside News reported that Meltzer backed up was 100% factual. I don't understand why people would think that this is not like WWE to do something like this. I don't understand you guys. And by you guys, I mean people who are brain-dead fools in the community. We got a lot to talk about today, man. A lot to talk about. I appreciate you joining me. Episode 391. Today, sponsored by Magic Spoon Cereal. MagicSpoon.com/scripts. You guys are going to save $5 off your entire purchase. They got some pretty damn good flavors, man. Some new flavors as well. Blueberry, cinnamon, maple, and my favorite, cookies and cream. I know a lot of the store-bought cereal that you see when you go to the supermarket, let me tell you something, man, it's all trash. It is all full of sugar. It is all garbage. artificial trash. Magic Spoon is all natural. Magic Spoon is going to replace all that store-bought cereal with something that tastes just as good, and it's actually healthy for you. So make sure you guys go check out Magic Spoon. That's magicspoon.com/scripts. You guys are going to use our code there and save $5 off. That's magicspoon.com/script. And I want to thank them for once again supporting the podcast here on Off the Script. We'll talk about Magic Spoon a little bit later on in the show. But I want to thank you guys for another great week, man. We are really hitting our stride going into the fall months as we close the chapter on the summer of 2021. The summer of Cena has gone. The summer of Punk has gone into the past. It is now about the future. We look forward to Dynamite, Grand Slam. We got Full Gear coming up. We have Survivor Series coming up, which is rumored to be massive in Barclays Center in New York Center. I was going to say at Madison Square Garden. It'd be tough to have at the Barclays Center and at Madison Square Garden at the same time. But at Barclays Center this November for Survivor Series with the big rumor of Dwayne Johnson coming back, The Rock making his return to WWE to challenge Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. That right now is speculation. It is a rumor. We don't know what's going to happen with that, but we will be in the months coming up even bigger than what's going on coming out of the summer, man. A lot is changing. A lot is being formulated. A lot of excitement. Tony Khan has major surprises still left to come. It is crazy, man. Wrestling is seeing this boom period, almost a resurgence. AEW is making pro wrestling legit again. AEW is making pro wrestling cool again. I don't know what WWE is doing. It seems like they don't know what the fuck they got going on or what they have to do. They don't know what's going on. They don't play to the trends. They don't want to be cool. They don't want to be hip. They don't want to be fun. All I know is I thank you guys for being with me and keeping it grounded here on Off the Script, man. I know there's a lot of podcasts in the community now, a lot of pro wrestler podcasts that don't necessarily do what we do. I know there are a lot of non-wrestling or non-wrestler podcasts out there, but I'm glad you guys choose me here on OTS. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. If you guys want to support the show, you could definitely do that in a variety of ways. Number one, we got Patreon. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. We got t-shirts. The Are We Live t-shirts exclusive to Patreon. We got the engraved dugout mugs with the Off the Script logo engraved in baseball bat beer mugs, man. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. And now, finally, I can confirm we finally are getting hats made. Legit baseball caps, Off the Script baseball caps are coming, and they will be Patreon exclusive coming up very, very soon, man. And the logo that we got done, oh my goodness, man. It is going to look sharp on these baseball caps. I can't wait to unveil them. It may be the cap I wear on the show moving forward. No more Atlanta Braves, especially if they lose going into the playoffs, if they actually make the playoffs. We don't even know if they're going to be there yet. But I'll be representing it on the show very, very soon. So make sure you guys check that out. I will unveil them as soon as I can. That is patreon.com/JD from NY206. Go get your t-shirts, man. I got some new t-shirts coming up. We got a brand new t-shirt showing up on the shop on Bonfire in the next couple of weeks. I just got a rough design. I can't wait to show you guys. It is all hand-drawn, and it's really going to be something special. It's going to be something special that a lot of people are going to look at and say, yes, that is JD. That is Off the Script. I can't wait to get myself one of those. If you guys are big into video games like I am, you are going to love this design, man. Seriously, it's very, I don't want to say anti-WWE, but it is so much about what we talk about here and the truth that we lay down here and the just direct nature of what we talk about here. It's all that rolled up into one, and it's plastered on a t-shirt, man. I can't wait to show you. coming soon, but if you guys want to go check out the other shirts that are in the shop right now on Bonfire, it's bonfire.com. Link is right underneath that video player you're watching right now. Whether you're on Android or iPhone or PC or an iPad or even on your PlayStation, it doesn't matter, man. Go check the links underneath the video player. Click the one you want. It'll take you right to Bonfire, and you guys can go and get yourself some off-the-script merchandise. That's bonfire.com. Go check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. We were live on Monday for Raw, Tuesday for NXT 2.0, Wednesday for Dynamite, and Friday for SmackDown and Rampage. This is a weekly occurrence. So if you guys missed any of those post shows live on YouTube, go and check it out. They're all on the homepage for you. So go check that out if you want more viewing of the Off the Script podcast. I appreciate all of your support. And make sure you guys hit that thumbs up down below. Let's try for a good, cool 1,500 likes on today's podcast right here on YouTube.com. Gonna start off at the top, man. Gonna start off at the top. Gable Steveson. This is a name that you will be hearing for a very long time, and you're going to be hearing that name quite often in regards to WWE. This is exactly the type of guy that they want, and this is exactly the type of guy that they will continue to go out and sign. Somebody that doesn't know a lick of the WWE product, somebody that they can mold and make into their own, who has no prior experience on the indie circuit. Gable Steveson, Olympic gold medalist, has signed with WWE, and there is already talk about big plans for him very, very soon. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer said that there is already some talk of having Gable Steveson wrestle Brock Lesnar in an eventual passing of the torch type moment. Now, it was not said when this could actually happen. It's worth noting that WWE did a lot to get him signed, including agreeing to sign him while he stays in college. Steveson is also friends with Brock Lesnar, trained with Brock Lesnar, very good friends with Paul Heyman, and people high up in management have praised him, so he is already, right now, in a position in WWE where he has allies in very, very high places. So when I say you have the next Kurt Angle on your hands, that is legitimate fact. Right there. They wanted their next Angle. They got him. Gable impressed us before he became a United States Olympic gold medalist, said Paul Levesque with ESPN. He has all the tools to be a generational talent, a world-class athlete with size, speed, determination, and the ability to captivate an audience with his incredible charisma. The introduction allows us to create a more direct path from college to WWE. And Triple H is talking about the contract that he signed with the company. A benefit to athletes as well as the WWE universe, as Gable will have an immediate presence with our company while working towards earning his degree and defending his national championship. The future is bright for him in World Wrestling Entertainment. End quote from Paul Levesque to ESPN. Meltzer stated in The Observer that WWE will set up a training facility for Steveson in Minneapolis, Minnesota, so he can train while he continues going to college, and he will be brought in to Orlando when time permits to train at the Performance Center. It was also reported by Meltzer that he will start full-time on TV in May of 2022 after the NCAA tournament and the ending of his senior year of college. Steveson recently spoke to Ariel Helwani on his MMA show, where he revealed that he is currently under a 3-year deal with WWE. Gable Steveson said this, and I quote, "After this year, it's a 3-year deal. This year is extra." Steveson continued on, saying that WWE never told him to skip the collegiate season to work with WWE full-time, and that Minnesota were okay with him making the deal. So the introduction, says Triple H before in his quote to ESPN, it's an NIL contract And like Triple H said, it allows them to create a more direct path from college to WWE. They didn't take him out of college. They didn't force him out of college to go right to the Performance Center. They're letting him do what he has to do. They're letting him defend his national championship in the NCAA, and they're giving him all of the perks so he doesn't have to miss any of that by setting up a training facility for him in Minneapolis, so when he's not training for NCAA, he can train for the WWE, and when he's done, he can go train with WWE full-time 100%. May 2022. Believe it or not, folks, that's literally around the corner. It's literally around the corner. That will be here before you know it. As soon as we get through the winter months, we'll be talking about Gable Steveson some more. Brock Lesnar's got Roman Reigns coming up at Crown Jewel. Brock Lesnar, I don't know what he does at WrestleMania. I'd like to think Bobby Lashley. And I said about Brock Lesnar, there's not many dream matches in WWE right now that I would like to see with Brock Lesnar. I think the word or the term dream matches gets thrown around a bit, and nobody really knows what really a dream match is. To me, a dream match is Rock versus Shawn Michaels, or Shawn Michaels versus Eddie Guerrero, or Bret the Hitman Hart versus Kurt Angle. Shit like that. Undertaker versus Sting in their prime. Those are dream matches. I don't think what people are associating with dream matches today are legitimate dream matches. I just think that Brock Lesnar is very short on opponents. I don't consider Lesnar versus Lashley a dream match. Is it a money match? Yes, that's a money match. The Goldberg match was not a money match, even though the geeks online said it was a money match. It was a match that was not a match that needed to happen, unnecessary, and it wasn't a money match. They made no money. Goldberg did nothing for the WWE product upon being brought back. Nothing. So with Lesnar, you got your Keith Lees, you got your Matt Riddles, you got your Roman Reigns now with the roles of the two guys reversed. Lesnar's now a babyface as opposed to being a heel, and Roman is actually getting heel heat, whereas before he was a babyface. We've seen the AJ Styles versus Lesnar matches. We've seen the Bryans and the Punks and the Ballers. I don't know how many matches Brock Lesnar has left in WWE. So if they're setting up Gable Steveson versus Brock Lesnar, you could absolutely see it as being a passing of the torch moment. It's going to be, and I would not be surprised if WWE doesn't try to recreate this, it's going to be a similar situation to Lesnar and Angle at WrestleMania, where Brock Lesnar almost broke his neck, but this time nothing like that's going to happen. It's going to be that type of atmosphere, that type of moment that they're going to try and recreate for Gable Steveson and Brock Lesnar. And if Lesnar's already in with you, he's going to have no problem doing what he has to do for you and give you the world. He's going to pass that torch on to Gable Steveson. My concern with him was, how soon do we see him on television? How soon before we really get to see what he's about? Because with somebody like that, he's signing a 3-year deal. He's not going to spend much time in the Performance Center training for the duration of that WWE contract. WWE signed him for what I probably think is big money. They're going to want to return on their investment immediately. How good is he going to be, though? Is he really going to embody everything that a WWE superstar needs to embody? Is he going to be one of those guys that has a great presence on the microphone? Is he going to have that natural charisma? Probably not out of the gate. But it's going to be difficult for him to be thrown into the fire and learn on the go, because they're going to need him to be at a certain level, and we don't know if he's ever going to get there. My only reservation in this is I hope that they don't force him to be something that he's not, or force him to be in a position that he's not ready for. Is he going to get the style? He clearly knows how to wrestle, but does he know how to wrestle a WWE style? We have to see how this all progresses as the months get closer to May 2022. I'm worried. I'm a little worried. Maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe I shouldn't be. But WWE clearly is showing you what type of talent that they want on their program. A generational talent. I was worried about Ronda. To me, this looks like a very similar situation to Ronda. Ronda, she picked it up. She wasn't a pro wrestler. She was an MMA fighter. But she picked everything up in a year. Gable Stevenson's already one step ahead of Ronda Rousey because he knows how to actually wrestle. to piece that together and mix that with the WWE style, it may come to him easier than anything. He may be ready in 6 months. We don't know. But I look at it similar to a Ronda Rousey situation. I was concerned about what she was going to bring to the table. Was she going to be that type of presence for the women's division and really have the in-ring ability to match what they were looking for to build this division with the Sashas and the Charlottes and the Beckys and the Baileys and really take this women's revolution to the next level? She passed the test with flying colors. Ronda was legitimately some of the best to come out of that year that she was ready and when she was put into the ring to really lead that division. She had the best match at WrestleMania with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon with Kurt Angle as her partner. She passed the test with flying colors. Do we see the same thing with Gable Steveson? Only time will tell, man. But listen, even though I'm reserved and I'm a little concerned, I'm excited to see what he's got. Because we need somebody in this company to step up and be that next guy. Is he the next guy to take it over from Roman Reigns? WWE certainly seems to think so with all the promotion. They don't have anybody like that. Is this the guy? And I said it on last Friday's post show. WWE should be absolutely concerned about when Roman Reigns drops that championship, who is he dropping that championship to? And when that happens, who is it? Is it going to be somebody that's ready? Is it going to be somebody that's worth it? Is this person even on the roster? Gable Stevenson's not actually on the roster yet. We may be looking at that guy who takes it over from Roman Reigns. Only time will tell, man. Braun Strowman. I thought he was going to end up back in WWE under a lighter contract. A much smaller contract. Adam Scherr. Did Adam Scherr? Who is it? How is it? How is it pronounced? Braun Strowman. Whee! The Strowman Express. Stupid. You know, that guy. I thought we were going to see him back in WWE. Well, it appears that he may be headed towards Impact Wrestling. The Strowman Express is about to make an impact. Great. I won't be watching. I'll watch a clip on YouTube, but I won't be watching. What is he going to be named? He clearly can't be called Braun Strowman. Maybe they got something else in the works for him. But Dave Meltzer is reporting in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Braun Strowman, Adam Scherr, is in talks but has not signed with Impact Wrestling, but they are in talks with him. Now, the report noted that anyone coming into the promotion who were part of the latest WWE cuts will likely be debuting at Bound for Glory next month in Las Vegas. Last month, the former Universal Champion shared an interesting message on Twitter where he talked about making an impact, a reference to Impact Wrestling, and also used the hashtag Titan, which may be a part of his new ring name. Also, Impact executive Scott D'Amore previously stated in a Twitch clip that Impact is currently on the road to Braun for Glory, which many took as a tease that Adam Scherr could make his promotional debut at their show. I said this before, I'm going to say it again. I don't want to waste too much time on somebody that doesn't really deserve it. Braun Strowman, does he love professional wrestling? I don't know. I could have ended up seeing him in WWE, and I would not be surprised under a very small contract. Maybe bring him in for a year, see how he does, if they make any money off him, if they got anything there with Braun Strowman, sign him to a short-term contract, bring him back, have him get his feet wet again, introduce him, maybe give him a new gimmick. I could have absolutely seen him end up back in WWE. But somebody like that going right back there because that's what you know and that's what you're comfortable with, that's not a sign of growth. So you see for him, with Braun Strowman, Adam Scherr, it's something where if he loves this business, he wants to remain and be in this business, he should use this time while he has it, if he loves everything about it, to go somewhere else and challenge himself. Go somewhere else and be that guy that you were not allowed to be in WWE, that you didn't have a chance to be in WWE. Prove them wrong. That is the greatest ammunition for any of these free agents. You were let go. They gave you a lot. You gave them a lot. They probably bullshitted you along the way. And now you probably harbor some animosity towards some of the executives in WWE. You know that for sure, because a lot of people have said that very same thing while leaving WWE. There's always something that they don't like, or the truth comes to light when they leave the company because they had to keep their mouth shut while being there for obvious reasons. But if I'm Braun Strowman, I'm going to do that and use this as fuel to my anger. Get yourself over with somebody else, make yourself some money, and in due time, when your contract is up and you've accumulated a top spot with another company, you're going to open eyes everywhere else, including the WWE, to say, you know what? He did it somewhere else. He couldn't do it here. Let's give him another opportunity if that is your ultimate goal to get back there. And I honestly think with that roster, and I honestly think with the liberation that he would be able to have there, I honestly think he'd do very well there for himself. So if he wants to end up going to Impact, if he wants to go somewhere else, great. I'm all for it, and I actually support him. I don't want to see him in AEW because we got enough big guys that are getting lost in the shuffle. I don't want to bring in another WWE guy who's bigger than them all and have him take priority spot over a Will Hobbs or Brian Cage or a Lance Archer or a Wardlow. You know, guys like that in AEW really aren't getting the time of day that they feel like they deserve because of everybody needing an opportunity. You're going to have to wait your time. Braun Strowman comes on into AEW, he's going to have to wait his turn. He's not going to get preferential treatment because of who he is and where he came from. It's not how it works. He's not a CM Punk. He's not a Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. It's not going to work that way for him. He's going to have to prove himself there. And I would not, if I'm Tony Khan, sign him anyway because he's everything that AEW says they're not. Nobody wants him there. I don't want him there. I wouldn't mind seeing him in Impact. Impact may be the only place in North America for him to end up. So I'm very much interested in seeing what he does with Impact. And I think that's the right decision for him. But his name is being talked about a little bit more because we're getting closer to Bound for Glory. Literally a month away. And it should be a big deal. So we'll keep an eye on Braun Strowman and where he ends up and if he does show up in Las Vegas. Adam Cole. You guys know how I feel about Adam Cole. Adam Cole comments on the WWE creative plans that were supposed to be for him that would have made him Keith Lee's manager, turning Keith Lee into a heel monster on Raw. It was reported earlier this month that WWE had some interesting plans for Adam Cole on the main roster if he did decide to re-sign with the company. Thank Christ he didn't. And he made the right career decision. Dave Meltzer reported that Cole would have been the manager for Keith Lee, who would have been repackaged as a monster heel. The dynamic of the duo would have been something like they would have did with Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley a few years ago, with a smaller guy talking for the bigger guy. Meltzer also said that this was not an idea that creative came up with, and it was more from Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard. I want you guys to listen to that last statement again, okay? Because we're about to make a lot of people in this community look like a bunch of blithering fools. Dave Meltzer said that this was not an idea that creative came up with. It was more from Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard. Okay? Cole was asked about this during an interview with TV Insider. Adam Cole said this, and I quote, "I personally have never heard anything regarding that. I touched base a little bit on how my meeting with Vince McMahon went. It went really well. We talked for about 30 minutes. He had a lot of complimentary things to say. As far as hearing that specific thing, that was not something I heard about. My 4 years with NXT was fantastic. My 4 years with WWE was awesome. But at the end of the day, I wanted to end up with AEW. Now that I'm here, I'm stoked. Cole made his AEW debut at All Out, and he just won his in-ring debut on Dynamite this past Wednesday against Frankie Kazarian in the opening match to Dynamite. And it was awesome. And it's great to see Adam Cole back in the ring. Now, I want to read you something that Kofi Kingston said on social media. Okay? And I want to read you something that he said as of this past Monday in regards to Big E winning the WWE Championship, because it has everything to do with this Adam Cole situation. Meltzer said this was not an idea that the creative team came up with. It was Bruce Pritchard, and it was Vince McMahon. Kofi Kingston and what he was talking about on social media in regards to Big E, Kingston didn't learn that Big E was going to be on Raw until he saw Big E's social media post about him cashing in the Money in the Bank contract on Raw that night. Kofi Kingston said he usually finds out what he's doing on Raw through Twitter. And this is nothing new to everybody in the back. Kofi says this, and I quote, "You would be surprised. Usually as performers, we are the last ones to find things out. This week and last week, I found out on Twitter what I was doing on Raw. It was announced I would be in an 8-man tag team match, and I was like, oh, good to know. I gotta prepare. Same thing last week when we found out we had the tag team turmoil match. I had no idea until I looked on social media, and I saw it. If I didn't look at social media, I wouldn't have known until I got in the building. Oftentimes, we have no idea what the show is going to entail or what we're supposed to be doing. Even sometimes when we do know, it always changes. That's the bittersweet part of being a WWE superstar. If you're somebody who needs to know exactly what is happening, when it's happening, and step for step, you're going to be real upset working here because everything changes. I think it's a good thing, keeps everyone on their toes, and that's what he said to 106 KMEL in a radio interview. Monday. This was probably in Boston. Now, I don't necessarily look at what he said here as a good thing. You're going to be real upset working here because everything changes. I think it's a good thing. No, it's not. The fact that everything changes, we see it as fans. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for you. It's only a good thing, and you're saying it's a good thing because you work there. Everybody else that's left the company has pinpointed what you just said there as the number one glaring issue as to why this place fucking sucks to work for. And nobody wants to be a part of it. I've heard Sasha say it's so much different being in NXT than being on Raw. It's so much different on Friday night than being on Monday night. It's a problem. It needs to be addressed. Plans should not be changing as often as they do. You as superstars should not be finding out what you're doing on the show because it's posted on social media. Now let me backtrack to what everybody was talking about in regards to Adam Cole, and they blasted Dave Meltzer for it. What exactly are you blasting Dave Meltzer about when all you needed to do was look up this particular instance in what Kofi Kingston said and then apply it to what Dave Meltzer said, and you would find out that Dave Meltzer was correct? And Ringside News before Meltzer was correct. If Kofi Kingston doesn't know what he's doing on a week-to-week basis, what makes you think Adam Cole is going to know about what he's got going on the main roster? I reported a Ringside News article several weeks ago that Bruce Pritchard has an edict backstage where he doesn't let anybody know what's going on on the shows until either Vince McMahon approves it or he has to let people know, depending on the situation of said segment and who it involves. Everybody else finds out the way Kofi Kingston finds out. And this is legit, a legit edict backstage on Monday and Friday night. So please tell me how Adam Cole was supposed to find out about what he was doing and why he said he doesn't know anything about that. He doesn't know anything about it because it didn't happen from the creative team. It happens because Vince and Bruce want it that way. That's it. Adam Cole is clueless, just like everybody else. Vince and Bruce came up with this plan. And unless Bruce told him, which there's no reason to, and was never supposed to happen because he left, who was he going to tell? Why would Bruce harbor this information and then tell Adam Cole when Adam Cole is walking out of the company and they know he's leaving? Nobody thinks. Nobody thinks. Adam Cole doesn't know shit because they want it that way. So when he goes on TV Insider and says, oh, I haven't heard anything about that, of course you didn't. Nobody on the roster hears anything about what they're doing until Bruce Pritchard says so. Like Kofi, when Bruce gets the line sheet ready, tells the PR team, tells the social media team, get this out. Then they find out. Dave Meltzer was treated like shit this week from a bunch of fucking unintelligent idiots that can't piece the puzzle together because they want to read something and jump to fucking conclusions. I'm glad I could make you all look like a bunch of fucking idiots that should honestly delete your account, don't even know why you exist, unless you are here doing what I do with the mind that I have and the logic that I have behind everything and the platform that I have, doing as good as I do here, then you're able to speak. Other than that, shut your fucking mouth. I'm glad I could bring this public service announcement to each and every one of you every single week. And I love Adam Cole. He doesn't know shit. He wouldn't have known shit. He would have suffered the same problem that Kofi Kingston would have suffered on Monday Night Raw. The other big thing that happened this week is Vince McMahon, NXT 2.0. Backstage news on Vince McMahon's involvement with Tuesday Night Show. Going into this week's NXT 2.0, there was a lot of concern from fans and wrestlers about how much involvement Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn would have had on the show. It was reported last week in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn were expected to oversee the big picture of things on the show, but they would have the usual crew handling the day-to-day affairs. Ringside News reported that Vince McMahon reviewed the show with writer Ed Koskey, who was the lead writer on Monday Night Raw with Bruce Pritchard, by the way. And things are still up in the air on whether or not this current system will remain in place or if this is a work in progress. Ringside News also reported that none of the main roster writers were used for the NXT 2.0 relaunch. At this point, it's not clear if the current process with McMahon reviewing the script with Koskey is a one-time thing or not. It's not clear how much input Vince McMahon actually had on the show. What is clear is that the show that aired on Tuesday night reflects Vince McMahon's overall vision for the brand. The idea with NXT 2.0 is to focus on more younger talent, with the idea being that they can eventually become stars on the main roster. McMahon is said to want to develop more wrestlers who could someday main event WrestleMania. I want to get this to you guys again, and I hate repeating myself. If you watched Tuesday's show and you saw the camera work and the way that it felt, the way that it looked, the way that it was booked, what did it remind you of on Tuesday night? It reminded you of a Monday Night Raw. It reminded me right out of the gate who was in charge. Right from the first match, you had Bron Breakker. I can't even fucking remember this kid's name. Rex Steiner. Bron Breakker in a match against LA Knight. LA Knight was in the fucking main event of the show for the NXT Championship in a fatal four-way with Tommaso Ciampa, Kyle O'Reilly, and Pete Dunne. Why did LA Knight need to wrestle in the opening match and then go back out there and wrestle in the main event? Why did he need to wrestle twice on one show when they got more than enough talent to fill in to wrestle Bron Breakker in the open of the show? LA Knight loses in 4 minutes to somebody that we'd never seen on television on Tuesday night. And that win did not take LA Knight out of the main event. It did not include Bron Breakker, which everybody thought was going to be the case because they were going to put the title on somebody new and somebody fresh after stripping it of Samoa Joe, who, by the way, is not hurt at all. So right out of the gate, you knew who was booking the show, or I should say who wrote the show. Then we get a women's match. Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus the Toxic, whatever the fuck they're calling themselves, Toxic Attraction. You got Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. Out comes Mandy Rose, who's not blonde anymore. Out comes Scherr. And right before we go to commercial break, where this beatdown happened and caused the disqualification, I even posted seconds after it happened, we're going to get a 6-woman tag team match, aren't we? Right then and there, I knew who exactly was writing this show. I know who wrote the show, who formatted the show. Vince McMahon's involvement on the show doesn't require Vince McMahon to be there. This is what I've been telling you guys for years, ever since Bruce Pritchard made his way back into the company. Vince McMahon has acquired people to work alongside of him where he can sit wherever he needs to be, in his limousine, on the fucking plane, in Connecticut at Titan Tower, on the fucking toilet bowl, in his $25 million mansion taking a shit. It doesn't matter where he is. He can sit on a Zoom call. He can tell everybody exactly what he wants, who he wants, and when he wants it. And you know what? Those people are going to put everything that man says via that Zoom call to paper, and he's going to approve it via Zoom, just like he would do when he's there. So Vince McMahon's involvement in the show doesn't require Vince McMahon to physically be there in person. Vince McMahon's involvement is Vince McMahon's involvement no matter what or where he is. I don't know why it is so difficult for you people to understand basics of how this company works. Does he need to be there for his influence and his presence to be all over that show? No, but I think you guys should be wise enough to realize what you watched on Tuesday night is shit that I haven't seen in NXT for 10 years. At least not under Triple H's watch. Vince McMahon's involvement was Vince McMahon's involvement. I love how people even got this wrong. As I get into the next topic that is very much to do with this story. Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was in charge backstage at NXT 2.0. Dave Meltzer noted on today's Wrestling Observer Radio that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard were not backstage at the show. Shawn Michaels was running the show backstage, as Triple H wasn't there due to his recent medical condition, which we will go over in just a second because there's actually news on Triple H as well. As fans are concerned about his well-being, WWE has not let anybody know about anything. Everything's been kept very, very secretive in regards to Triple H. And WWE said that the talent roster can call Triple H, wish him well, but they may no longer conduct business with Triple H. Oh, really? Really now? But Shawn Michaels was in charge because Triple H wasn't there, right? Let's read what Meltzer said about Shawn Michaels. He says, and I quote, Shawn Michaels was the guy running the show because Triple H obviously is still not back and probably won't be back for a while. Shawn was running it, and Kevin Dunn was there. No Vince McMahon, no Bruce Pritchard, although Pritchard had gone down to Orlando recently. Meltzer added, but Vince did review the script of the show. He was involved in the creative of this show, but not there. And he was not the key guy or anything like that. And whether that will be the case going forward, I doubt it. I think it will be his toy until he gets tired of it. End quote. So let me go over and what he said here and correlate it to what was just previously read in the last report. He was involved in the creative of the show. He reviewed the scripts. He was not there, and he was not the key guy or anything. Yes, he wasn't the key guy present there because he doesn't need to be. This is his vision. Ed Koskey was there, though, and Ed Koskey and Bruce Pritchard run the show as if Vince McMahon is there when he's not. Ed Koskey has been there for a very long time. He knows exactly the type of show Vince McMahon wants. Vince McMahon overseed this project wherever he was, and Ed Koskey with Bruce Pritchard wrote this show for Vince McMahon. They didn't write it for NXT. They didn't write it for the fans. This is why there was such indifference backstage on Tuesday afternoon. People were walking around on eggshells. People were very upset. People were very scared about what was going on. It was reported that there was a main roster feel backstage at NXT, something that they never felt before. It wasn't the relaxed backstage environment that they're used to. But everybody's like, oh, JD's wrong again. Up, Meltzer's wrong again. Up, this guy is wrong again. They're nothing but people who have a big mouth and they talk all this shit and nothing but lies comes out of their mouth. Shawn Michaels is in charge of nothing. Who else was going to run the show if Bruce Pritchard wasn't there, if Vince McMahon wasn't there, if Triple H wasn't there? Shawn Michaels was there. So Shawn Michaels has been training under Triple H in Gorilla to produce shows and work Gorilla for these shows. Triple H put Shawn Michaels in charge of NXT UK to prep him eventually to run that and then take over NXT Local. This is exactly what the plan was for. Shawn Michaels running NXT UK. Get your feet wet over there. Learn the ropes. When I get called up to the main roster and I'm the man running those shows, then you can take over my spot. This was the natural progression of things. Vince is not there. He can't sit in Gorilla. Bruce is not there. He can't sit in Gorilla. Triple H is not there. He can't sit in Gorilla. So who's going to sit in Gorilla? Who's the one guy there that knows how to run the show? Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels had no say with the script. Shawn Michaels had no say what was on the show or who was on the show or what outcomes were supposed to come out of that show. Nothing. He was there because he got the job done as far as making the show from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. flow the way that Vince McMahon wants. Vince will be there. Don't know if it will be next week. Don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now. Vince will be there. Vince will be there. Maybe Vince didn't want to make the flight from Boston to Orlando for Tuesday. But if it's anywhere closer in the vicinity to where he is for Monday Night Raw and Orlando, you better believe he'll be there. That's when we'll see the great Vince McMahon show up on Tuesday night with Bruce Pritchard. But as far as I'm concerned, and as far as what you people should know, Bruce and Vince are writing the show with Ed Koskey. Vince and Bruce don't need to be there. Ed Koskey was there because he's nothing but a good little toy soldier for the McMahon family. He wrote the show. It was approved by Bruce. It was approved by Vince. There you go. Figureheads are in place. The people in power don't need to physically be there. Now, as far as Triple H is concerned, WWE talent is not even allowed to talk to Triple H about business-related affairs. I want to wish him well. Hopefully he's recovering. But Dave Meltzer reported this in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that everything remains quiet in regards to Triple H, but he was told that Triple H is in good enough shape to be taking phone calls. However, talent is not allowed to talk with Triple H about business-related topics. Meltzer wrote, Talent was told that they can call him and wish him well, but that they are not allowed to talk about WWE-related business with him. End quote. Now, I want to think that WWE is obviously keeping Triple H's best interest and health at the priority list, the top of the priority list. I want to think that WWE is not wanting their talent roster to talk business with him because it's going to affect his health. Just like this NXT 2.0 revamp has broken his heart. I don't want to say one reason or the other why he's in the hospital. This couldn't have helped, is all I'll say. This is all I'll say about it. But do you want to know why Triple H is not allowed to talk business with anybody from the active roster, especially people in NXT? Because, folks, the same people that don't want the roster to talk business with Triple H as he's in the hospital recovering are the same people that fucking sabotaged him and took his baby away and ruined it all. Those are the same people. I hope that you realize that. I hope that you know that. The same people that put Triple H in the hospital are the same people that are now running his show. Triple H is no longer in charge. So what business affairs should Triple H be talking about with the active NXT roster? He's no longer in command. He has very, very little power left. I don't know what else I need to really detail that I haven't already detailed. You all know Triple H is not in charge. He will never be in charge again. NXT is dead. The revamp was embarrassing. If you're a fan of what Triple H did from 2014 to 2020, probably way before that, 2013, with the inception of NXT and what it meant to where it was as the hottest brand in the world, everything that they were doing was exactly the way the main roster should have been running. If you looked at Triple H and what he did and the shows and the talent that he gave us, and you compare it to what we saw on Tuesday night, I'd be in the hospital too if I was in charge. It was embarrassing. It looked like a fucking game show on Nickelodeon, man. Legitimately, it looked like we were on the set of Double Dare and I was about to see Mark Summers come out and host the fucking show. I use the analogy of, it looks like I walked into the fucking Mushroom Kingdom and Princess Peach is sitting in her fucking castle drinking tea with Toad bouncing up and down. And Mario jumping around the fucking Mushroom Kingdom looking for coins. It's me, Mario. No, says Luigi. Right? It legitimately looked like you walked into the Mushroom Kingdom. Meanwhile, the NXT that Triple H had, it looked like you walked into fucking Hyrule Castle when Ganondorf was taking over the whole fucking operation, capturing Princess Zelda and saying, fuck you, to Link. Exactly the correlation that I made with it. Now you want to know why Triple H is in the fucking hospital. Sad day. We got Bron Breakker. We got Rick Steiner's son not able to use his fucking family name. We got 6-woman tags that's turned into 6-woman tags from 4-woman tags. And we got a Von Wagner. No idea what the fuck a Von Wagner is. I'm still asking myself what a fucking Von Wagner is. Put the lotion in the basket. Von Wagner. Gonna call him Buffalo Bill for the remaining fucking days I see him on NXT, man. It exactly looks like fucking Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. All I'm waiting is for Clarice to come out and start fucking hunting this guy down. Oh, Clarice. Give me a break. This NXT is fucking garbage. Complete trash. And you know what? I'm gonna watch it. Post-shows are coming back. Because I know it's going to be a shit show. But I'm going to try and find positives about it because I'm invested in WWE's future. I want to see how everybody progresses. So we'll see what happens there. But I didn't like it. I don't know how the fuck you could watching Triple H conquer the world and Vince McMahon burn everything down to the fucking ground with a snap of a finger. Speaking of Rex Steiner, Bron Breakker, Vic Joseph, Wade Barrett, and Beth Phoenix not allowed to say the Steiner name on NXT TV. We talked about this. Apparently, Dave Meltzer on The Observer said that Rick Steiner's name is not allowed to be mentioned by the announcers. Meltzer says WWE does weird things all the time, but this guy comes out in his singlet, looks like Rick Steiner with his haircut. He looks like the son of Rick Steiner. He is, they never say it. They never say second generation wrestler. Wrestler is a banned term on Vince McMahon's list. They never bring up Rick Steiner. They never bring up Scott Steiner, which I'm not really surprised about because Scott Steiner has said some derogatory, hateful things towards WWE, their Hall of Fame, and Stephanie McMahon. Shit like that's not going to be swept under the rug. Brian Alvarez noted that there was a reference to the dog-faced gremlin, and Meltzer said it was an inside wink-wink job by Vic Joseph because they were not allowed to say Rick Steiner, so he decided to be cute. And dog-faced gremlin was not banned from being said. But those announcers were absolutely told you cannot mention Steiner. Why would you do this? Asks Brian Alvarez. Rick Steiner was a pretty big star. Why would you do this and ban the mention of Rick Steiner's name? It is just weird. Now, this is not the only time WWE has done this. You know, they've done it with some people. Some people they allowed to really go out there and emulate their family names. Cody Rhodes was one of them. Ted DiBiase Jr. was another one. Those are the only other guys that I really remember. Bo Dallas, Wyndham Rotunda, they were never allowed to say who their father was or what their family lineage was. WWE always tried to make new characters, new backgrounds for them that didn't really detail who and where they came from, or who they are and where they came from. They did the same thing with Curtis Axel, the son of Mr. Perfect. How do you fuck that up? Mr. Perfect was one of the greatest superstars in the history of WWE. Ben Buchanan, Brooks Jensen. He was on NXT Tuesday. He teamed with Josh Briggs in a match against Imperium. He's the son of Bull Buchanan. Cal Bloom, Von Wagner. His real name is Cal Bloom. Don't know why we can't call him Cal Bloom, because I'm still fucking wondering what a Von Wagner is. He's the son of Wayne Bloom, who was one half of the Beverly Brothers. Remember them, Bo and Blake Beverly? Awesome tag team. WWE does this. Some people they do it for, some people they don't. Charlotte Flair and Natalya are able to mention, well, not now with Charlotte. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do there after the Dark Side of the Ring Ric Flair shit. But Natalya always has mentioned her father's name. They don't mention it in her ring name. They don't mention Jim the Anvil Neidhart. They don't call her Natalya Neidhart. But they always mentioned that she was the daughter of Jim the Anvil Neidhart. You know, one thing I think about, Tony Khan would never allow any of this. It's so amazing to me that WWE, and I feel this, you see it, you just know it, you understand it, and then when you see things like this happen, you just get confirmation. WWE tries their best to erase their past. They don't want anything to do with their past. They don't want anything to do with their past. They hate professional wrestling. They try and change their past. It's amazing to me. It really is. The lengths that these people go to change this shit. I don't understand why they needed to change his name. Now, there could be reasons why. Maybe they want to build him from the ground up. They don't want him to rely and gain popularity quicker than they want based off his father's name. I don't know. You know WWE is in that little bubble. Oh, you can't get over as quick as what we say. If you do, nah, it's not a good thing. They want you to get over when they want you to get over. If Rick Steiner's son was named Rex Steiner, he'd be the most popular guy on the fucking roster in day one. They don't want that. They want to have control over everything. That's just that you guys know that for a fact. I mean, I don't have to sit here and go over that with you guys. You know that already and how they operate. Maybe it's a temporary name. I can't see the name Bron Breakker making it to Monday Night Raw and main eventing fucking WrestleMania with Bobby Lashley or Drew McIntyre. Bron Breakker? Sounds like a created character name out of WWE 2K that you'll find in their career mode, and you got to get through him on the indies to make it to NXT. It's not really a main event name. It's not. Maybe it's a temporary thing. I said this on the extra I did on Friday. Maybe, and I hope this is the case, maybe the Steiner name comes along with a price tag. Maybe the Steiners wants some kickback from WWE using their family likeness. I don't know. Maybe WWE didn't think the Steiner name was worth it to pay them, and they just renamed him and repackaged him. But he comes out wearing a fucking singlet, looking like he's a member of the Steiner brothers. He's got the fucking face of his father. You can't miss him. But they're big on him. I hope they're big on him to make him into a legit guy. Seriously, everybody's talking high about him. I didn't really see much there when I watched on Tuesday night. Going to keep a close eye on him. And the reason why Tommaso Ciampa won the NXT Championship, by the way, and I mentioned this several times already, I'm going to fucking ingrain it in your skulls. The reason why Kyle O'Reilly was pulled for Von Wagner, the lotion in the basket, Von Wagner. The reason why they took O'Reilly out of that match for Von Wagner is because O'Reilly doesn't fit their mold. This guy is as good as gone. He'll be joining Bobby Fish in MLW in no time. And we got Von Wagner taking his spot. LA Knight was pinned twice in one night. For what? I have no fucking idea. LA Knight was one of the best things about that fucking show the last 6 months. Pete Dunne just signed a contract. I hope they have plans for him. Tommaso Ciampa won the NXT Championship. Pete Dunne is NXT, but only NXT in the UK. Hasn't really done much on NXT here in the States. Kyle O'Reilly, they buried him they took him out. I would say they buried him because of his affiliation with Cole. He's Adam Cole's best friend, or one of Adam Cole's best friends. They buried him because of the Cole situation. Cole did everything that he could to put Kyle O'Reilly over, so Bruce and Vince and Ed Koskey and everybody else got there. This guy was affiliated with Cole. Get him out of here. We don't want him on TV. Get him out of here. Everything that Cole did, fuck him. Exactly what they did. Then you got Tommaso Ciampa. I thought fucking Von Wagner was going to win the championship because Vince is incredibly high on him. I will go over that in a second. But the reason why Ciampa won the championship is because with Ciampa as champion, Goldie is brought to life. The black and gold, Goldie is brought to life. It's a symbolic thing to Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa, more than anybody in that match, has been the heart and soul of NXT. When Rex Steiner beats Tommaso Ciampa for that NXT championship, Goldie will be dead. It will be a new championship. It will be white strapped with colorful fucking colors all over it, tie-dye all over it, ruining the fucking black and gold and killing it once and for all. But when Ciampa wins the championship and drops it to Bron Breakker, Rex Steiner, that will be symbolic of Vince McMahon choosing his guy, killing the remaining heart and soul of Triple H's NXT that resides in Tommaso Ciampa. It is a symbolic changing of the guard. It's exactly what it is. If you don't believe me, I don't know what to tell you. That's the way I see it. I might be a little bit far-fetched in that, but that's exactly what I see, and I would not be surprised if that is the case, seeing what we've already saw so far with them taking over and Triple H being removed from power. Vince McMahon sees Von Wagner as a future WrestleMania main event guy. WrestlingNews.co reported back in April of 2020 that WWE officials had seen big things ahead for Cal Bloom, a.k.a. Von Wagner. And the site has now followed up on this report from last April after Tuesday night's NXT. According to WrestlingNews.co's newest report, WWE is impressed with Von Wagner's progression in the ring, and he has a good head on his shoulders. A source told the site Vince sees him as a future WrestleMania main eventer. That should tell you everything about his future here, end quote. The new philosophy of NXT is to develop talent that Vince sees as future main event stars, and it sounds like Von Wagner is going to fit into that category. After he worked a match on SmackDown in the Performance Center last year, due to the depleted roster, it was said that he was referred to as a young edge who could become a big star after some more time to develop. He is the son of Bo Beverly, Wayne Bloom of the Beverly Brothers tag team in WWF. I don't see it yet. Do I see it as far as how big of a guy he is? Yes. Once he was put into that match, I even said, Von Wagner is going to be the new NXT fucking champion, isn't he? He's got no theme music. He's got no reaction. Nobody knows who the fuck he is. Nobody knows anything about him. But they took Kyle O'Reilly, of all fucking people, out of that match. You don't think that was strategically done during the show? To replace Kyle O'Reilly, who that fan base knows, with somebody that they gave absolutely zero reaction to. Zero. Von Wagner. He's a young Edge. He was bigger than everybody in that match. It's the reason why he was there. The reason why he was there is because Vince McMahon sees him as a future main event guy. He came close twice to winning that championship. If you don't think that's going to happen, if you don't think fucking Von Wagner versus Bron Breakker is a future main event program on this show, maybe you need to watch this with a new set of eyes. I don't see a young Edge yet. Absolutely criminal to be even comparing anybody to fucking Edge. Nobody's ever going to be Edge. You fucking kidding me? Nobody will emulate what that man has done. Nobody. You can look like him, but nobody's ever going to be Edge. Nobody's ever going to have the presence of Edge. Nobody's going to have live sex like Edge. Nobody's going to have the theme music like Edge. Nobody's going to cut a promo like Edge. Please, continue to make yourself look like a fucking idiot when comparing Von Wagner to Adam Copeland. I wish him the best. I wish him the best. I don't see it yet. I don't know if we will see it this year. But Von Wagner is going to be on your TV screens a lot for the rest of the year on Tuesday night. Vince apparently loves him. You could see why. Samoa Joe. His NXT role is not to be a full-time professional wrestler in NXT. On Sunday night, I got to reiterate this again. Sunday night, Samoa Joe announced in a video on Twitter that he will be relinquishing the NXT title due to an undisclosed injury. Don't know why Joe couldn't have just lost the championship in a match on Tuesday night and call it a day. Apparently, he's hurt. Joe stated that he wouldn't be out of action for very long and didn't note the exact injury. Originally, when Joe came back to the WWE, he was supposed to be an on-air character in NXT, with his main job being behind the scenes in the talent scouting department. However, WWE quickly put him back in the ring for him to be Karrion Kross for the NXT title at TakeOver 36, as Kross was moved to the main roster to ultimately have his career ruined. Meltzer noted on the Observer Radio that there is a lot of vagueness around this situation, which typically means there is more to the story that will come out later. There's no clear reason why Joe would give up the title instead of losing it to a match or losing it to someone in a match. Meltzer says, and I quote, "It's a weird story. He's still with the company as far as that goes. I don't know if he's going to be wrestling much, because the only thing I heard officially from WWE on this, because I contacted a bunch of people unofficially who really didn't know anything. He'd actually said this before people in NXT even had an idea of what was going on. So it wasn't like they knew anything. The official thing that I was just told is that he was hired to be more of an administrator or whatever, more like a front office person more than a pro wrestler. So that's going to be his job." Now, the thing with him and Kross, it drew interest. It was a big deal in NXT, but it's NXT going in a different direction. Why couldn't he lose the title beats me. There's many unanswered questions in this story. If he's going to be able to wrestle in a couple of weeks or whatever, or a short period of time, stripping him kind of makes no sense. There's a lot of vagueness, and when there's vagueness, there's probably a lot more to it than has come out. End quote. Everything regarding this Joe situation doesn't sit well with me. Another situation that I got blasted for on social media because of my bluntness with everybody. I don't care to know Joe's injury, but the timing of it is very, very bizarre and very fishy to me. Like Meltzer said, if Joe was able to wrestle, which I believe he is, I do not think he's hurt because he hasn't stepped foot in that ring since he won the title from Cross. He hasn't stepped foot in that ring when he won the NXT Championship. He hasn't been on TV. He only showed up to really engage in who is coming after the title next. If they had every reason to continue to put him on television and even after TakeOver, present him as the NXT champion with an O'Reilly and a Dunn and an LA Knight and a Gargano, a Ciampa, all coming after the championship, that same medical team cleared him for those shows, and that is the same medical team and management staff that had every reason to use him on television with a rebrand or not. WWE swooped in. Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, John Laurinaitis, they swooped in. They saw who the NXT champion was. They realized it was Samoa Joe. They realized that they fired him, and they had him cut some bullshit storyline, non-storyline actually, reason on social media why he's relinquishing the championship. And then they put the title on the line with Tommaso Ciampa winning it on Tuesday night in the most unceremonious and boring fashion you could possibly contemplate. What is Samoa Joe going to say? What is Samoa Joe going to do? Nothing. That man is absolutely helpless. I'd be lucky to see him in this company still employed after a year. Triple H brought him back under Vince McMahon's nose because Triple H felt bad about Samoa Joe being fired. When he was trying to actively come back, they had him sitting on the Raw commentary team doing nothing. Triple H brought him back. Legitimately, the next day called him, signed him, brought him back to the company. You don't think Vince McMahon knows this? You don't think Bruce Pritchard knows this? These are the same people. Vince McMahon is the same guy that looked at the list of fucking terminations and picked his name off the list personally. That man is not hurt. He's not hurt. He should have wrestled and dropped the title. But the thing is, Joe doesn't represent the new vision of Vince McMahon's NXT. To Vince McMahon, Joe is big. Vince McMahon, Joe is fat. Vince McMahon, Joe is too indie. They never got who or what Samoa Joe was. That's why there was such indifference to him on the main roster. This man should have been a world champion 3 times over on the main roster. These are the same people that did not initially hire Samoa Joe because he was a fat Samoan. And this is very well documented. So the fact that he's no longer the NXT champion because of an injury, I'm not buying it. 2 days before the relaunch, I'm not buying it. The fact that he could have dropped the championship in some other way, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. You know, beating Samoa Joe would have been just as big as anything for a Bron Breakker or a fucking Von Wagner. It would have been such a big deal because Joe is legit as they come. But Joe really isn't NXT. Ciampa is NXT. Goldie is NXT. That was NXT. That was the heart of NXT. He was NXT. He was WWE's greatest heel in that moment. This was all done strategically, politically, with some weird fucking agenda in mind. You are not going to convince me otherwise. And what nobody's really talking about is how this this diminished Cross even greater than what happened already to Cross. You had Cross lose to Jeff Hardy without knowing that this match was out. Maybe they did at TakeOver 36. He lost to Jeff Hardy as NXT champion in 90 seconds, only to then go defend that title against Joe, lose. It was supposed to be a big deal. And then they took the title off of Joe for undisclosed reasons that we may never even find out what the reasons are. So how does that make Cross look on the main roster now? Everything that you did for him in those final months, wasted. Wasted. The TV time, the build, the hype, the match, wasted. Imagine if Cross was still undefeated going into that match and he didn't lose to Jeff Hardy. How much worse it would have been then. Joe is not hurt, folks. I find it very, very difficult to believe. So what did the ratings do for NXT on Tuesday night? Did they draw interest? Did they draw interest in the show? Live viewership numbers are in, and the show on NXT did 770,000 live viewers, which was up from the 601,000 viewers the show did previously. This is according to Show Buzz Daily. Of course they were going to be up. You know how many fucking coming attraction commercials for NXT 2.0 coming soon we saw on Monday night and on Friday night? And everybody hyping this relaunch on social media. Of course there was going to be interest in what was going on Tuesday. It was like a season premiere. Everybody saying, they got higher ratings than Rampage. Rampage isn't about ratings. Rampage isn't here to accumulate 1 million ratings on Friday night at the 10 p.m. time slot. You fucking unintelligent geeks. 770,000 live viewers is still below what NXT is doing. But they had the hype machine of Raw and SmackDown behind it. Which, by the way, I'm not sure if you guys figured it out yet. I haven't seen more NXT promotion on the main roster than ever before. This is the one single time I think I can honestly say they've promoted NXT the way that they should. You've never seen this type of promotion with Triple H's NXT on the main roster. You'd be lucky to hear the fucking letters NXT on Monday or Friday night. They never promoted Triple H's NXT. Why? Because they were jealous. And he was in charge. Now that Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard are in charge, you're going to see more NXT commercials. Who's wrestling on NXT? What's coming on NXT? You didn't hear that about Triple H's NXT. Another confirmation about who's in charge and who's not. 770,000 live viewers did a 0.21 in the 18 to 49 demographic. The show did a 0.14 1 week ago in the 18 to 49. It ranked number 10 in the cable top 150 shows for the night. That is up from last week's number 31 ranking. This episode featured Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell and their wedding that went off without any fuckery. Really. It was a wedding. It was entertaining, a little cringe at times. It was entertaining. It was funny. And everything went according to plan, which makes me wonder what's next for them. If nobody came and destroyed the set, if nobody came and hopped up through the ring, or nothing was burned down, or a feud wasn't really developed with Dexter Lumis coming out of this, it makes me wonder what the plan is. Is divorce between Dexter and Indy planned next? Maybe Dexter turns back into a heel. I don't know. Maybe somebody from his wedding party doesn't agree with the way he's treating Indy, and we get one of those guys to step up and battle a heel Dexter Lumis. I don't know. LA Knight Ciampa, Kyle O'Reilly, who was taken out for Von Wagner against Pete Dunne, crowned the new NXT champion in Tommaso Ciampa. Bron Breakker beat LA Knight, made no sense, very Monday Night Raw-esque. Ridge Holland destroyed Drake Maverick, and we got the Toxic Attraction group of Mandy Rose, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane beating Casey Catanzaro, Caden Carter, and Saray. And that was your NXT. Imperium also got a win over, what's his name? Brooks Jensen, and what's his name? I can't think of his name right now from Evolve. Fucking shit, I can't remember his name. NXT looked like shit. That's what it is. It comes down to a reset, colors, we got a new stage. I was going blind. I will say this about the new NXT before I get out of here and give you guys a commercial break right before we get into the major story of Biggie. I will say this. They made, and I'm hearing that they're going to continue changing aesthetics of the Capitol Wrestling Center, which they're no longer calling the Capitol Wrestling Center. They're calling it the home of NXT. I thought that they did a very, very nice job at filling that arena. I haven't seen that many people inside an arena for NXT since the last Full Sail show. I will say that it looks aesthetically, as far as the crowd goes, better than Full Sail. They really made it full. They got rid of the barricades. They got rid of the plexiglass. They got rid of the gates. But man, oh man, I felt like I was going blind watching this fucking show. The theme music sucks for the show. It's got this very cartoonish, Nickelodeon-esque vibe. When I watch pro wrestling, I want dark. I want hard-hitting music. I want gritty. I'm not saying it's got to be looking like it's being performed in a fucking basement somewhere, but I like the semi-dark tones. I like the darks, the blacks, the grays. I like that. It looks too overproduced. It legitimately looks like it should be on a block or right in between Saturday morning cartoons, following Blue's Clues or fucking Baby Shark or something on Saturday morning. It looks like a kid's show. And I can't see some of these people that we've been so ingrained to watching every single week wrestling with that color scheme background. But those people will be phased out eventually anyway. Everybody that you come to know and love on NXT will be making way for the new talent, the colorful talent, the talent handpicked by Vince and Bruce, a Parker Bordeaux, a Rex Steiner, a Von Wagner, these Julius brothers that we're seeing, this Ivy Blue that we got in the, what's her name? And Zulis, the former MMA style that appeared on, MMA fighter that appeared on Titan Games. That's now in Bivens' group. Diamond Mine. These are all handpicked talents by Vince and Bruce. They're going to give way the talent that Triple H has been there molding. They're going to move to the side, and they're going to give way to the talent that Bruce and Vince have handpicked. And they're going to be the ones that are going to really make this show and fit into this format, this new NXT. The old guard is dead. The old guard is dead. But I made a promise to you guys. As long as I am involved in what I'm doing here, I will be covering NXT. If there's anything that I love doing most, and I hate the fact that I'm saying this, I'm watching it for all the wrong reasons. I love the talent. I love seeing it grow. I like seeing it mature. I like seeing and being a part of their journey. But knowing who is in charge and how they make it so easy for me to shit on it, if Bruce and Vince are a part of it, I will be there to correct them at every given opportunity because I know exactly what they're going to do before they do it. And I take great pride and great pleasure in that. I really do. I love telling everybody exactly what is wrong with the show. And this gives me another opportunity on Tuesday night to just do that for everybody. So Tuesday night will be live. Tuesday night, this new NXT 2.0 will be live on YouTube. But there's a lot to not like about this show. And a lot of people, I think, after this first show are genuinely going to be turned off and not come back for what is going to be round 2 on Tuesday night. Thank you guys very much for sticking with me here on the second half of Off the Script. It is episode 391 for this weekend. We still have a lot to get into, man, and I know a lot of people are up in arms about Big E winning the WWE Championship. Some are very happy for him. Some don't like it. I'm in the middle. And the topic of discussion that we're going to engage in today, it may actually trigger those that don't quite understand where I'm coming from. And today I'm going to put it in the simplest way possible. Every time I complain about something, everybody thinks I'm crying. Everybody thinks I'm complaining for the simple reason of clicks or likes on social media. Oh, this is his gimmick on Off the Script. This is his gimmick on YouTube. You may think what you want, but everything that I project to you here is exactly what I tell you if you came out to a meet and greet, if you seen me at the bar and you wanted to rub elbows with me and talk pro wrestling. Everything that you get here is exactly what I tell you anywhere. So there's no hiding anything here, man. So the topic that we're about to get into, it may trigger some people, and it's something that's been brewing over the last 24 to 36 hours. because I see a lot of people in the community just don't understand what is going on around them, and it's very sad to see. So we're going to get into it. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I want to thank Magic Spoon for magically sponsoring the podcast here on episode 391. MagicSpoon.com/script. Even if you don't like cereal, man, at least go check it out. They got some really, really good stuff. Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw. WWE had promoted a tag team championship match between Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, rated RK Bro, defending the Raw tag team titles against yet another team that really isn't a legit tag team, which is also one of those things that I just can't stand to watch every week. MVP and the WWE champion, Bobby Lashley. WWE had advertised this match after wasting our 3 hours the previous Monday in having Bobby Lashley and MVP win a gauntlet match to become the number one contenders for the Raw Tag Team titles, all while, and I know I saw it, all the while promoting Randy Orton versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE title at Extreme Rules. WWE changed a lot on Monday night, including what I just told you. It's no secret that Monday Night Raw scripts change just as much as Vince McMahon changes underwear. But Vince McMahon reportedly made changes to WWE Raw in response to Monday Night Football, says the Geeks online. Vince McMahon made these changes and included Big E in the Monday Night Raw broadcast, being a SmackDown superstar with the Money in the Bank contract, when he had all this time, all this common sense and logical time to bring Big E to Monday Night Raw. He opts to bring Big E to Monday Night Raw last week during week 1 of Monday Night Football. Really? Really? If anybody thinks Monday Night Raw is on the back of the minds of WWE management, you may be correct. In some circles, you may be correct. Clearly, they are up against Monday Night Football. I'm not an idiot. I know Monday Night Football is really holding them back from achieving a 1.8 down from a 1.6. I mean, give me a break. The difference in ratings isn't really all that much, folks. So how much of a deterrent is Monday Night Football? Their normal rating is a 1.8. They got a 1.6 on Monday night this past week. So please continue to tell me how WWE is being tortured and bullied on Monday night from Monday Night Football. No, I'm not using that as an excuse in 2021. Give me a fucking break. The reason why WWE made these script changes is because Monday Night Football has always been there. Monday Night Football's been around since 1970. I'm not using that as an excuse anymore. The reason why WWE made these changes is because of AEW Dynamite beating them in the 18 to 49 demographic. And if you don't think that's the reason, you are only fooling yourself. Originally, it was supposed to be Lashley MVP, Raw Tag Team title shot against RK Bro. Lashley and MVP earned the right to challenge for the titles by winning a tag team turmoil match at the end of last week's show. The WWE Championship match was originally scheduled for Extreme Rules, but is now advertised for Monday Night Raw, the afternoon of this week's show. So they did the match and sped up the match because Monday Night Football. Yeah, right. I'm not believing it for 1 second. Now, it's worth noting that the match is still listed internally for Extreme Rules, so that may give fans a reason to, I guess, if you're interested in it, maybe we get that match at Extreme Rules, but I know we're not, because it doesn't make any sense. And if you guys watch the WWE Championship cash-in from Big E, Bobby Lashley sold a knee injury towards the end of the match that gave him a heel excuse. to ask for a rematch because he was injured in the previous match. He wasn't ready, and Big E capitalized like a babyface usually does in WWE. So probably, more than likely, we're getting Bobby Lashley versus Big E for the WWE Championship. Whether or not Big E wins or loses remains to be seen. WWE could easily put the title back on Bobby Lashley, which would make everything that happened on Monday even more useless than it already is. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said that the change to Raw was made because WWE's reacting to the strong AEW Dynamite rating from this past Wednesday. This is 2 weeks in a row now. This past Wednesday and the week before this week, 2 weeks in a row, AEW beats Monday Night Raw, while Raw still beats AEW in overall total viewership. Dynamite beat Raw in the key 18 to 49 demographic. This key demo is obviously what everybody knows is most important to advertisers on both USA and TNT. Meltzer said, they moved the pay-per-view match to Raw. Originally, they were going to do the tag team title match. The whole show last week was built to set up this tag team title match on this week's Raw. And then they pulled the match because they lost in the ratings. And they're putting Randy Orton and Bobby Lashley, the pay-per-view main event, on TV on Monday. Yeah, that's among the responses to AEW. I am not surprised. End quote. AEW, as you guys know, have been on a roll as of late. History is being made in AEW with names such as Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, and Bray Wyatt. Wyndham Rotunda is also being rumored to join the company. Malachi Black, so on and so forth. All Out was historic. Over 200,000 buys. The Dynamite that happened, the fallout from All Out, was one of their highest ratings ever. That show beat Monday Night Raw in the 18 to 49 demographic. This past Wednesday's show, this week's show, actually beat Monday Night Raw for the second week in a row in the 18 to 49 demographic, even though AEW had a little bit less total viewership than the previous week. But we have Dynamite Grand Slam coming up on Wednesday from Arthur Ashe Stadium. History is being made in AEW. Tony Khan is actually listening to his fan base. Tony Khan is giving us, the fans, what we want, and that is professional wrestling. And I'm going to reiterate that for a very, very long time, because that is the defining factor in what is going on here. AEW has all this shit going on. These major shows, these pay-per-views, all of the incoming talent that WWE seemingly has not made an effort to re-sign or just fired because of budget cut reasons. And Tony Khan is even expressing that he's got more up his sleeve. Sounds like a guy that actually gives a shit, if you ask me. Sounds like it's a guy who knows what the fans want and has his finger on the pulse of what the industry wants. Not only wants, but what the industry needs right now. Because Vince McMahon has abandoned what the industry needs for his own greed for a very, very long time. Now, Big E winning the WWE Championship. I'm happy for Big E. I really am. And there was backstage reaction to Big E winning the WWE Championship, and there were internet parades everywhere honoring Big E and how everybody was happy for Big E. I am not telling you that you should be negative towards Big E winning the WWE Championship. I'm not saying the guy doesn't deserve it. I'm not saying that me and everybody else isn't happy for Big E. There's a difference between being happy and then wanting something more for someone who we all know deserves it. Okay? I don't want to make it seem like I'm raining on his parade. I'm not. It's not even having to do with Big E. He's not even to blame. Everything that I mentioned from this point on has absolutely nothing to do with Big E. Because I know he is just a figurehead in this entire situation. He's the guy we want better for. I just wish WWE felt the same way as us and saw things from people like me and my perspective about all of this, including Roman Reigns going to Monday Night Raw on Monday with the Bloodline to battle Big E and the New Day, which we will get into. There was backstage reaction to Big E winning the WWE title. Big E made good on his promise. WWE pretty much all but guaranteed that we were going to have a new WWE champion. And he did. He won the WWE Championship. PW Insiders reporting that the morning of Tuesday, that there were a lot of talent in the locker room that really felt the morale was swinging to more positivity. There was a huge uptick in morale amongst the wrestlers at the show as they were genuinely excited for him to win the title, as Big E is beloved by the locker room, so it was seen as a huge deal. That's great. I'm not saying anybody doesn't have to feel that way towards Big E. All I'm saying is that it should have really happened when more eyes were on the product. If everybody thinks as high as they do for Big E, then you did him dirty by having it happen on Monday night, because WWE doesn't possess patience. They don't know how to book genuinely. They don't know how to book for a moment when it really, really, really should count. Everybody would have been just as happy if this happened when it should have happened. I'm not saying everybody can't be happy for him, but I don't think, with everything that's surrounding this title win, I don't think it was the right moment, and I don't think it was fair to put Big E in that situation. Those on SmackDown's roster said that they wish they could have been there for the moment. Regarding Lashley's knee, he is fine. He sold the knee at the end of the match to pretty much guarantee we get this match again for the WWE title at Extreme Rules. After Raw, it was reported that WWE putting the title on Big E was not a late decision. It might not have been a late decision, but WWE took that late decision and sped it up. That's what the reports are not telling you. You're going to hear that this was not a late decision, that this was in the pipeline or in the works for several weeks. In fact, it was. Why would you give him the Money in the Bank briefcase? There's no other way about it. You gave him the briefcase with ideas and thoughts to make him the WWE champion. Of course it was thought about. It was not a late decision. Yes, he won the Money in the Bank briefcase. So it was not a late decision. When WWE actually pulled the trigger on the title win and him cashing in, it was made, and a decision was made Friday during the Madison Square Garden show, and then it was promoted on Monday. So it says it wasn't a late decision. In theory, it was not. But in execution, it was absolutely a late decision. And late in this instance equals desperation. I just want you guys to be aware of that. Now, before Big E cashed in his contract, Lashley body slammed Orton through the table. He started to limp, having apparently suffered a quote-unquote knee injury. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, Lashley is not really injured. Johnson reported that the former WWE champion Lashley is 100% fine and was just doing an absolutely excellent job at selling the injury. Johnson also added that Lashley garnered a lot of praise for his performance backstage following the match with Big E. It was worth noting that dating back to 2017, Big E is just the second men's Money in the Bank ladder match winner to have successfully cashed in his contract. Baron Corbin in 2017, Braun Strowman in 2018, and Otis in 2020, who wound up losing the briefcase to The Miz, all failed. Now, while talking on Busted Open Radio, this is exactly the perfect lead-in that I'm going to need for everything that I'm about to talk about right after this. While on Busted Open Radio, Jon Moxley's wife, Renee Paquette, opened up about WWE's booking. She expressed the belief that Big E's title win was actually due to AEW's increased momentum and how they are catching up to WWE's foothold in the industry. I'm so happy I'm not the only one that feels that way, and you all know that there's not a single fucking human being alive that dislikes this woman. And for her to say that, yes, she's married to Jon Moxley, yes, she's interviewed CM Punk and AEW wrestlers on her show, she's not even employed with the company. And there's not one bad thing about this woman that has been said ever. So the fact that she's saying this, you have to take it with some legitimacy. She says, and I quote, "So yeah, I do think that there were more of a business side of decisions behind making that moment, especially doing it on Monday Night Raw. Who knows where Big E is going to continue to kind of show up. But yeah, I definitely think that was a bit of, I don't want to say a knee-jerk reaction, but as you see AEW nipping at the heels of WWE, they got to start making some bigger moves. And they've got to start making fans happy. So give them Big E. That's going to make people happy." End quote. Guys, you know, for years I've gotten it's only a gimmick to JD online. He isn't really the way that he is. He complains for likes and views and clicks, and he's got a platform of negativity because I disagree with the majority of the shit that I'm watching on a week-to-week basis. I get called an AEW hater. I get called an AEW shill. Depends on what circle of fan base you're talking to. I get called a WWE shill. Don't know how. I get called a WWE hater, and I have a platform that hates WWE, and I make money off of that, and good for me. I get called TK's best friend, and that I'm on Tony Khan's payroll. I can't win with anybody in this community. All I ever can do is put my best foot forward and show you guys exactly what I'm watching and maybe make a difference to one single person watching the same show that I'm watching. I don't want to be negative. I don't. But if WWE shows are dog shit like they usually are every fucking week, I'm going to be negative. Because they don't deserve any positivity. They don't deserve me trying to find any positivity. They don't deserve anything. I'm tired of sitting here doing their job better than them. I'm tired every week of coming up with solutions to their fucking problems, and none of it seems to go anywhere. Big E winning the WWE Championship is great. It's a great move. But it should not have happened on Monday night. It should not. And then the worst part of it all is that Big E shows up on Friday. I'm sorry, when he won the WWE Championship, he was no longer a SmackDown contracted superstar. I hope you understand that. So why exactly is he on SmackDown? Oh, but there's plans in place. No, there wasn't. Everything that WWE is doing, you're going to have people out there that say, shut up, watch it, enjoy it. It's making both shows better. I call bullshit. Because if WWE wanted to make better shows, they would have been doing it all year. AEW's been around for 2 years, kicking their fucking teeth in. AEW's been producing better content since the day that they stepped foot on TNT. Where was WWE then? Now that AEW's pretty much killed NXT, now you're worried about AEW? Should have been worried then, instead of treating it like some pissant t-shirt company when everybody thought it was just going to fail after 6 months. That's what I have a problem with. Why is there such overwhelming concern now? You didn't get the fucking picture 2 years ago? Now you're starting to get the picture as we roll into 2022. And WWE has their backs against the wall. And we have another wrestling company right now in the United States doing everything creatively that WWE should have been doing before AEW even existed. WWE has every resource possible to do exactly what AEW does. You know why they don't? Because they don't like the fan base. They hate professional wrestling. They are sports entertainment. They don't give a shit about me and you. They book for one man and one man's vision, and that's Vince McMahon. And that booking style is quickly getting them into some deep shit. Deep shit. They hate professional wrestling. Now, all of a sudden, I'm supposed to embrace Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw against The New Day? I don't give a fuck when this match was scheduled to happen. I don't give a shit about the fan base that's crying, oh, why on Raw? Why not wait till Survivor Series? I don't give a shit when this match happens. The match shouldn't be taking place, period. Shouldn't be even a thing in people's minds. Big E's a Monday Night Raw superstar right now. What business does he have to be on SmackDown? He was teaming with Finn Balor against the Usos. Fucking problem number one. The Usos are SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Finn Balor is the number one contender for Roman Reigns in the Universal Championship at Extreme Rules against the Demon, and not even Finn Balor. It's the fucking Demon, Finn Balor. Then Big E is the WWE Champion who just won the title on Monday, back on Friday, for absolutely no reason. WWE booked 4 men in a tag team match, and the outcome was nothing. Who wins that match? I hate champions losing, so you know right away the Usos should never be put in a situation where they lose on TV in a non-title match. That goes for any champion in that company. Big E just won the WWE Championship. He ain't taking the pinfall loss. Finn Balor can't lose. He's the number one contender for Roman Reigns in the Universal Championship. Why did that match need to happen? Now Big E's on SmackDown. He's getting involved in the bloodline. When Roman Reigns already has Balor on his plate, Balor just seems like an insignificant fucking challenge at this point. Not only does Roman Reigns run through the Demon, by doing that, Balor looks like a fucking geek. Balor, he suffers the loss, and it hurts him more than anything. He's in this thing, and nothing about this makes him look good. Then he's feuding with Brock Lesnar. WWE announced the Brock Lesnar match when we're not even through the Finn Balor match, which makes Balor look even worse. Because nobody expects Balor to beat Roman Reigns. And then Lesnar at Saudi Arabia. Roman Reigns has 3 possible opponents all at the same time. Why? Why? You've been doing so great with Roman Reigns. Now you're on the verge of possibly overexposing your best act. I don't think that's the right way to go about it at all. The only reason why Roman Reigns is on Monday Night Raw is because they threw up the fucking NOI symbol into the fucking Gotham Knight. And they need their number one act to save their dying show. I don't give a shit who you are and think, oh, look at all these people complaining about a New Day Bloodline match. Shut up. I like free shit. You know what? I like free shit too, but I don't like free shit knowing that it's coming from the wrong fucking place. WWE ain't doing this for us. WWE is doing this because they're in deep shit. They neglected AEW, and now they have no choice but to throw shit at the wall in desperation. You want to know how everything should have went? I don't believe I have to fucking talk about this again. If WWE gave a fuck about Big E winning the WWE Championship, don't you think it would have made sense for Big E to show up after he won Money in the Bank, after Bobby Lashley destroyed Kofi Kingston? Don't you think he should have cashed in a la Rob Van Dam at the 2006 ECW One Night Stand pay-per-view where he won the WWE title from John Cena? That's the way a baby face cashes in. That would have made sense. Match should have happened at SummerSlam. Yet we got Bill Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley, which Bobby Lashley, by the way, is getting the short end of the stick in this situation as well, because he's going to get another rematch with Big E. He's not winning the WWE Championship, and now WWE is looking at a Big E, Bobby Lashley match where they don't have to put the championship back on Bobby Lashley. Lashley then loses, then goes to Saudi Arabia, loses to Goldberg because it's a non-title match, which gives Goldberg the win in this feud. So is Bobby Lashley getting any benefit out of losing the WWE Championship? The answer is no. And in my honest opinion, that guy's done such a great fucking job. MVP has done such a great fucking job that you're just taking him and saying, you know what? We don't care. We don't care. Let's get him into a match with Big E, lose, and then Goldberg and Saudi lose, and that's it. Meanwhile, this is a guy that you should be keeping up on the fucking highest of highs and building a match between him and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So why didn't the Big E match happen at SummerSlam? That's what I want to know. Did we really need Goldberg? If you wanted to do Bobby Lashley and Bill Goldberg, you could have easily waited to do everything you did at SummerSlam in Saudi like I expected them to. And I had fucking shills come out and tell me, oh, they're not going to Saudi Arabia. Motherfucker, who was right again? Who was right again? And then, when Big E wins the WWE Championship in front of 50,000 people in Las Vegas, then you can continue the Big E, New Day, Lashley storyline by bringing back the Hurt Business. Maybe we get the same old Hurt Business with Cedric and Shelton. Maybe we get a new Hurt Business. And Bobby Lashley has now his boys back to battle the New Day on his way to maybe getting the WWE Championship back. Don't you think everything could have been contained on Monday Night Raw? Do you see now how breaking up the Hurt Business was absolutely fucking stupid as far as a creative decision goes? WWE killed everything about a potential feud here because Vince McMahon didn't want to push Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Yet I'm supposed to sit here and embrace Roman Reigns being on Monday Night Raw. I'm sorry, I'm not embracing shit knowing that WWE clearly bypassed the obviously better and right decision. I don't understand you people. I really don't. How could you listen to what I told you here and embrace Roman Reigns and the Bloodline being on Monday Night Raw to feud with the New Day? What exactly is going to come out of this? Does anybody think? Everybody's got short-term memory. You're all so fucking programmed to think whatever WWE does is right. Do you realize this means nothing for Big E? Nothing. I don't know how long he's going to hold that championship. Why do you think WWE is going to book Big E as a solid WWE champion when they didn't do it with Kofi? It was all right, but Kofi never really was looked at as a great champion. Big E just held the Intercontinental Championship. What did WWE do with him as Intercontinental Champion? They did nothing. They did nothing with Big E. They did nothing with Apollo. They're doing nothing with Nakamura. I don't really understand it. Why didn't the WWE give the New Day the tag team championships if that's the case? If you wanted to make this fucking feud as epic as possible, why didn't you give the New Day the tag team championships? Why are RK Bro walking around with the tag team titles? They're not even a tag team. How does this end for Big E? Have him win the championship, everybody celebrates to do what? I thought making Big E the champion was actually catapulting him as the face of Monday Night Raw. But all it does is go back to the same thing that we talked about every single week for the last fucking half a year. Roman Reigns is the only one that benefits from this. Everything that the company does is for Roman Reigns. You think Big E is going to walk into Madison Square Garden and beat, or not Madison Square Garden, Barclays Center, one way or the other. It's still New York City. You think Big E's going to walk into the Barclays Center at Survivor Series when the Raw versus SmackDown manufactured and forced brand versus brand feud happens? You think he's going to stare down Roman Reigns in a one-on-one match? WWE Champion versus Universal Champion. Big E versus Roman Reigns. You think Big E's going to win against Roman Reigns? Oh, man. Big E is being set up to be fed to Roman Reigns. This is what you think of his title reign. WWE is setting up Big E to lose to the better champion, the real face of the company. Instead of the company having him go off on his own and create his own path, you've now intertwined him in the bloodline and Roman Reigns for an eventual and inevitable loss. That doesn't sound like building top-tier talent to me. And what has WWE done with everybody that's been in the ring with Roman Reigns? Have they become better off for it? Yeah, in that moment. After the fact, it's almost as if they are disposable. Man, I love being right. Man, I love being right. WWE used everything about Big E for ratings. It wasn't because of Monday Night Football. It was because of AEW. Roman Reigns being on Monday Night Raw, I will not embrace it because I know WWE is doing it for all the wrong reasons. There's not even a fucking brand split to talk about because WWE doesn't adhere to their own rules. Oh, but JD, there's a brand-to-brand invitational. WWE had all year to utilize their own ruling and have refused to do so. Now you mean to tell me out of sheer coincidence, now this week they want to use it and bring the biggest guy in all of the sport to Monday Night Raw? Give me a fucking break. At this point, why is there even a brand split? I don't know. I've been saying it since 2016, following the draft that had SmackDown go on one of its best runs ever. I said it then, and I've been saying it every year since that review. And the fucking brand split. I have people, there are legitimately people out there that think by ending the brand split, it's gonna be worse. Because WWE did that one time and they failed miserably at it. Then they had to go back to it again. You do realize that WWE fucks up everything. But this time around, not only does WWE have themselves to blame because they don't have one single fucking person that knows what the fuck they're doing there or what to do, you do realize that this is a war of worlds between USA Network and Fox Sports. You do realize that Big E won the WWE Championship because WWE was forced to do it not only because of the demos and AEW, but WWE was forced to do it because USA Network went crying to Vince McMahon, how could you have Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch and bring back Brock Lesnar and have Madison Square Garden host SmackDown? What about us? Look at all the great things fans are saying about SmackDown coming out of Madison Square Garden. What about us? So WWE, knowing that and knowing the demo loss from AEW on Wednesday night, they were forced to do Big E winning the WWE Championship, and they were forced to do it when it made no sense whatsoever. And then Fox, after Big E wins the WWE Championship, why are you catering to Monday Night Raw? Why are you catering to USA Network? What about us? They give to Raw, and they have to give the same back to SmackDown. They give to SmackDown. They now have to give equal effort to Monday Night Raw. WWE is in the middle of a fucking tug of war because of TV networks that don't know how to spell the word wrestling. I wouldn't even trust these people to fucking walk my dog if I had one. And you're listening to these fucking people on what the shows need when they don't even give a shit at all about what is going on. All they know is, I need more star power. I need this. I need Lesnar. I need Ronda. I need Becky. These are the people that you're listening to. WWE has been pulled at both ends. They already don't know what they're doing. And Big E was a casualty for it. You do realize that Big E winning the WWE Championship was lame. Not saying Big E winning it was lame to him. I'm happy for him. I love Big E. I love the New Day. But Big E winning the WWE Championship, you do realize that you only get one first impression. That was his first WWE Championship. Do you honestly think WWE genuinely gave Big E the championship because they wanted to crown him WWE Champion? Now, if I was to ask Big E myself in closed-door conversation, would you have done it better? I guarantee you that man would have said yes. That is his first WWE Championship victory, his first moment like that, his first impression as WWE Champion, and you don't think that it could have been done better? You don't think WWE could have waited till Survivor Series? You don't think WWE could have waited till WrestleMania? You don't think WWE could have already done this and should have already done this for Big E? The other idea I projected to you guys was having Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns wrestle at Survivor Series, because to me, that is more of a money match for both guys, not Roman versus Big E. I don't want anything to do with Roman Reigns versus Big E at all. I didn't then, I don't now. But don't you think the situation should have been Lashley and Reigns with Lesnar as the counterpart there? Maybe causing a fuck finish, maybe having something to do with Lashley and leading to Lesnar winning the Royal Rumble, and then Lashley versus Lesnar at WrestleMania with Big E holding the briefcase till then and cashing in on either one of those guys. Now, but you thought him winning the championship in Boston, Massachusetts on Monday Night Raw, where their rating came in at one of the worst of the year, was the better idea, right? Again, I love being right, man. I love being right. This is the shit that people don't want to hear. This is the shit that people interpret as hate. This is the shit people interpret as, oh, JD's negative. No, I'm not. I'm negative against WWE. I'm not negative in this instance against Big E. I'm negative against their fucking logic and their timing and their creative. I'm not here to shit on Big E. In fact, I want nothing but the best for Big E. I would have given Big E the fucking world. How does this make him any bigger than he already was? It doesn't. Then you'll have the zombies online who say all he does is complain. How could you complain about New Day versus Bloodline on Monday Night Raw? If you don't understand the entire fucking conversation I'm having with you right now, there is no hope for you. There is no hope for you. The other thing I want to tackle is in the community now, with everybody complaining about Roman going to Raw and the Bloodline versus the New Day happening on Raw, the conversation shifts from what WWE's doing to, oh, look, AEW. Look at Grand Slam. Look at Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson. Isn't that a hot shot match? Why are you complaining about Roman being on Raw and a match with the Bloodline and the New Day, and then not complain about the hot shot match that Tony Khan booked with Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega? Oh, I'm sorry, you low IQ fucking blithering idiot. I didn't realize that there were similarities in both of these situations, because there's not. Big E winning the title is hot shot booking. Hot shot booking means WWE makes a hasty decision with no logic or thought behind it to benefit their fucking ratings. It doesn't benefit Big E. It doesn't benefit Monday Night Raw. It doesn't benefit anybody involved. That's the definition of hot shot booking. Having something happen for the sake of having something happen because of other factors that brought you to that situation. You throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks. AEW's been throwing shit at the wall for a very long time, but you know what? The difference between WWE throwing shit and AEW throwing shit, the shit that AEW is throwing has been planned for a very, very, very long time. I'm sorry to tell you. There are no similarities between Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson and what's happening on Monday Night Raw. I hope you do realize that this was the plan for a very, very long time for Bryan Danielson to come on in. With his arrival, it actively removed Adam Page from the situation. Adam Page, at the same time, right when Danielson was coming in, he asked for time off. Tony Khan confirmed that. He's having a child with his wife. Who knows how long he's going to be out. He's now a family man until he gets back, and he knows everything at home is right. In comes Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson is one of the best wrestlers on the face of the earth. Bryan Danielson main evented WrestleMania in one of the best WWE matches all year with Roman Reigns and Edge for the Universal Championship. He wrestled Roman Reigns twice this year, once before WrestleMania, and then again on a random episode of SmackDown where he lost a loser leaves SmackDown match. Everything that Bryan Danielson has done this year has been near perfect with Roman Reigns and Edge. He's one of the most elite professional wrestlers on this planet. You don't think he's going to come into all elite wrestling and go right to the top? That's what he does. He wants the best. He knows he's the best, and he's asking for the best in Kenny Omega. And here's a little caveat that I don't think people really understand. This is a non-title match. This isn't hot shot booking. It's a non-title match. So how exactly is it similar in that situation just based off that little piece of information, that little nugget of information? Here's another one for you. Hot shot booking, right? Hot shot booking. When was Roman Reigns ever on Monday Night Raw this year? Maybe it happened and I don't remember, but I don't really remember Roman Reigns being on Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns is SmackDown. Roman Reigns has nothing to do with Monday Night Raw. They're not building for Survivor Series. They're not building towards a Bloodline versus New Day feud. It wasn't in the pipeline. It wasn't in the works. It hasn't been planned for months. This legitimately came about after Monday Night Raw. This is throw shit at the wall and see and hope if it sticks. WWE is putting Monday Night Raw in a situation where they now have Roman Reigns on the show. For what? Desperation. Monday Night Raw, that's Big E's show now. That's Big E's show now. WWE clearly doesn't trust Big E enough to run Monday Night Raw by himself as WWE Champion, but they now have to add Roman Reigns to the equation. Roman Reigns is SmackDown. Big E is Monday Night Raw. It should be your job to book each show separately because there's a brand split, right? WWE doesn't even adhere to their own fucking rules. Why even have a brand split? Brand split is fucking trash. We see rematches every week. We get the same shit every week. The women's divisions are fucking garbage. Their tag team divisions are absolutely non-existent. Yet I got people telling me that the brand split ending would do no good. Really? What's happening right now that you would deem good? What is the brand split doing for the tag team division? What is the brand split doing for the women's division? What is the brand split doing to create new stars? Absolutely nothing. Merge the divisions. I've been saying it since 2016. Roman Reigns is SmackDown. Big E is Monday Night Raw. But here's the thing, folks. Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson, they are AEW. That is their show. They are the faces of that show. Roman Reigns is the face of SmackDown. He has nothing to do with Monday Night Raw. Big E is the face of Raw. He has nothing to do with SmackDown. So please tell me how, in that instance, it's a case of similarity. There's not. It's not hot shot booking. Here's another one for you. Remember when I just talked about before about Big E and first impressions, and if that was his first WWE Championship victory, and his first big win like that. Why didn't they save it for a bigger moment? First impressions are everything. You're going to look back in the record books. Monday Night Raw, come on. Then you got people saying, oh, they book for television, yada, yada, yada. They book for television, blah, blah, blah. It's all about the television ratings. Everything is a situation of let's get desperate and TV matters most and it's the WWE model now. Whatever. I have all these excuses that people have just come to me with. It's ridiculous. AEW is setting foot in Madison Square Garden, Arthur Ashe Stadium, soon to be. One of these years, they'll be in Madison Square Garden. AEW is setting foot in Arthur Ashe Stadium. They have almost 19,000 people showing up for their debut in Arthur Ashe Stadium. Why do you think that they would skimp on a show? You do realize what Grand Slam is, right? If you guys did any research whatsoever or listen to Tony Khan speak when he actually speaks, Grand Slam is supposed to be a Saturday night main event type show. Saturday night's main event existed when WWE pay-per-view calendar only had Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. It was something in between those shows that would give the perception to the fans that this is a big show, and every single time it would lead to storylines building into the pay-per-view because of the separate months in between that didn't have a pay-per-view. There was a long layoff in between. WCW did it with Clash of the Champions. WCW did it with Clash of the Champions, and it was the same model. The same model. If you guys did any fucking research whatsoever and listened to actually what Tony Khan had to say, Grand Slam and shows thereafter, because I don't know if it's going to be coined Grand Slam. I don't know if they're going to have different names moving forward for these types of shows. This is one of many shows like this. But this is exactly what was advertised. It was supposed to be a pay-per-view on free television because of their pay-per-view model. I hope you realize that. Revolution, Double or Nothing, All Out, and Full Gear. AEW only has 4 pay-per-views per year, which WWE could actually look at and do the same model and have the same mentality, but they don't. They're a greedy fucking bunch of people. Everything that WWE does and the quantity over the quality that WWE makes a priority ruins their shows. Grand Slam is exactly what is as advertised for AEW. It is a pay-per-view in the middle of pay-per-views because there's a long layoff between what happens at All Out and then when we get to November, the middle of November, for Full Gear. I don't understand why people are having such a difficult time understanding this. What exactly is the fucking problem in understanding anything here? If that is the case, don't you think Tony Khan, mixed with the fact that he's in New York City for the first time with 19,000 fucking people, don't you think Tony Khan wants to put his best foot forward and deliver as advertised for Grand Slam being a mini pay-per-view in the middle of his pay-per-view calendar that we see it now? Don't you think Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson is good enough to main event any fucking show on any planet in this lifetime and the next 10 lifetimes? So why wouldn't you have that match happen on a show like this in New York City, the first time in New York City with 19,000 people? Don't you think all those people are going to go into that show excited, come out even more excited, and wait for the next time Tony Khan walks into Arthur Ashe Stadium? Don't you think by the time this show ends on Wednesday night that people will already have made a decision to buy the ticket to an AEW show in Arthur Ashe Stadium, selling that show out quicker than this one sold out? It's all about first impression. If Tony Khan did not load this show up the way that he did, if Tony Khan did not put Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega in the main event, which is a non-title match, by the way, which everybody's complaining, they're hot-shotting a match. I'd rather see it on pay-per-view. Motherfucker, you're the same fucking people that are arguing with me about why are you complaining about New Day and the Bloodline, and you got Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. These are the same fucking people that are telling me Why don't they save it for pay-per-view? You do realize that this is going to be one of two matches, right? You do realize that we're getting another Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega match, but the next time will be for the World Championship. Plus the unpredictability factor of it being non-title, anybody could win that match. This was a title match on Wednesday night. Bryan would not be losing his first match, and then we'd all have something else to complain about because we all feel the same way about Kenny Omega as we feel about Roman Reigns. It is not time to have him relinquish that championship to anybody. Tony Khan has solidified a great show with a main event that is proper for this show. And everybody that leaves that show on Wednesday night will be back when they do it again. WWE does everything out of desperation. Tony Khan legitimately has done everything right. I'm not saying everything. But as far as presentation, making titles matter, moments, debuts, shows, and how important a show should be, even when he's had lackluster dynamites, and there have been a few as of late. Even through all of that, Tony Khan at the end of the day could sit back in his office knowing that he got it right. When I look at WWE Hotshot Biggie, the WWE Championship, all I could do is hang my head in disappointment because not only did they not do it because they wanted to give him the championship, not only was it not genuine, WWE did it because they're worried about everything else but their own product. And if WWE actually made sense of what they did on television, we wouldn't be in this situation. The breaking up of the Hurt business hurt them legitimately. It hurt Lashley. It hurt a potential feud. Now you're throwing the Bloodline and Roman Reigns into the situation which, on paper looks great and it sounds great. But how many times do we need to rely on the same fucking people on these shows? I'm not about that. I'm not about that. I dare you to show anybody this argument. I dare anybody here to show anybody that is on the fence or is of a differing opinion. I urge you to show them my take because I feel like a lot of people in the community don't use their head. A lot of them seem to follow others' opinions. Nobody seems to have an opinion to their own or to themselves. Everybody seems to want to jump on the bandwagon for one promotion over the other without thinking. There are shills in the United Kingdom that cover pro wrestling in the community that act fucking stupid, acting like they don't know the fucking answer to a bunch of shit. Meanwhile, they do, but they're afraid to say it because they're afraid of hurting their reputation and their friendships with some of these people because they don't have a talented fucking bone in their body to get to where I am based on their own hard work. Who the fuck would any of these guys be if they didn't have interviews or podcasts with other actual professional wrestlers or ins with WWE PR? Who? Who would they be? Then they want to act fucking stupid and not know what the situation is when the situation is staring them right in the fucking face. I can make a fucking God's honest guarantee I will be there to let them know every single time what it is and how it is. And everything I said here is how it is. There's literally nothing in this conversation that you could sit there and say, I don't disagree with him, man. I don't disagree with him. I may hate him, but I think he's got a point. That's my goal, and that's what I sought to do, talking about this particular topic here. Monday Night Raw, ratings drop against week 1 of Monday Night Football. The rating was 1.67 million viewers. That's that. Raw sucked. Raw sucked, and Big E deserved better. Don't need to go into it anymore. AEW, shifting gears. AEW Backstage is very high, or morale, I should say, is very high ahead of the New York Grand Slam shows. This is being reported that AEW is also aware that the event will outdraw WWE's return to Madison Square Garden by at least 5,000 fans. And the morale within the locker room is reportedly very high, according to PW Insider. Many huge matches have been confirmed for the event, including Bryan Danielson's in-ring debut against Kenny Omega, AEW Women's Championship match between Britt Baker and Ruby Soho, and more. going to be a Grand Slam week in New York City. Malachi Black is set to return for a match against Cody Rhodes. Well, Cody Rhodes, rather, is set to return for a match against Malachi Black. CM Punk interview also announced. It's going to be a great show. MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr. Awesome stuff. Just awesome, awesome stuff. Dynamite, their ratings dropped this week, but beat Monday Night Raw for the second week in a row in the 18 to 49 demo. 1.175 million viewers. That is down from the 1.319 million viewers. I said on Wednesday's show with Jesse on the podcast, I am predicting AEW does at least a 1.5 in the rating. I think they come as close to Monday Night Raw as they ever have come close in the ratings. The 18 to 49 viewers was a 0.43. Monday Night Raw had a 0.42. That little discrepancy means the world to USA Network and TNT. Moving on. Rampage, ratings are down. They charted number 3 on cable. Rampage, 670,000, a 0.27 rating in the 18 to 49 demic. The demographic. The last week's show did a 696,000 viewership, and that is a 0.13 rating. Rampage has Grand Slam happening as well inside Arthur Ashe Stadium. So the fans are getting 4 hours of what is a legit pay-per-view in New York City. And 2 hours will happen on Rampage as well, where we'll see the Super Click versus Jungle Boy Luchasaurus and Christian Cage, Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus Minoru Suzuki and Lance Archer. It's going to be a great show. And CM Punk is going to be wrestling on that show as well. CM Punk versus Powerhouse Will Hobbs. Rampage is not about the ratings. It's not. So no matter how many people want to say, oh, Rampage is decreasing and Rampage is doing this and Rampage sucks and Rampage is failing and this and that, TNT is happy about it. Tony Khan is going to net himself a cool $300 to $400 million contract when negotiations come up between TNT and AEW. It was never meant to be a ratings draw. It was always meant to be an additional 1 hour of TV for AEW that got storylines onto the show that weren't given the time to get on Dynamite, and talent in-ring time that you deem ready for the next level to be on a Dynamite, to give them time to be molded in front of that audience as well. That's what it's about. It's not about ratings. It was only meant to be about a draw for the first dance and CM Punk, and that is it. After that, I'm not comparing it to anything that is happening right now between the major shows, and nor should you. SmackDown ratings, they were in 2.383. This was not for last night's show, or this week's show rather, but it was for the week prior. 2.383. This was the show in Madison Square Garden. That was up from the previous week of 2.220. But like I said, a lot of people don't really think. They just project. WWE had Brock Lesnar on the show. Outside of that, you had a great match with Edge and Seth Rollins. Outside that, it wasn't any different from a usual episode of SmackDown. Lesnar's the difference. Lesnar and Reigns were the difference. And being inside Madison Square Garden, with it being on 9/11, it's made all the difference in the world. So WWE, yeah, they pulled in a big rating. But the thing is, people aren't thinking about the big rating that was and the show that they got. It usually is a situation where WWE refuses to do anything with new talent. It was the same cast of characters. That's all it was. It was the usual episode of SmackDown with the same cast of characters that you usually see on a week-to-week basis. The only difference is Brock Lesnar's there. There's no difference. We would have easily gotten an Edge versus Seth Rollins match on any episode of SmackDown. They opted to do it inside Madison Square Garden with Brock Lesnar being there, doing his thing with Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. It's the same cast of characters and no different from what we usually see. That's the problem. And then people are telling me that the brand split shouldn't end. If you're happy with the way SmackDown is, WWE could do a show like that every single week if they ended the fucking brand split. WWE should get some order in their house and do the end of the brand split. The shows would be better off for it. Divisions would flourish. You'd have top contenders for Roman Reigns. You don't need 2 women's championships. You don't need 2 men's tag team championships. You don't need women's tag team titles. I speak, and none of this will ever happen. Only in my perfect world. And there was major optimism coming out of that show as well. Fightful's reporting that there was a unanimously optimistic environment backstage and believed by the locker room that WWE is capable of putting on shows like that on Friday from Madison Square Garden on a regular basis. It was noted that right now it's just a case of getting through to management that shows like that on Friday at Madison Square Garden are what the fans want to see. Fans want to see professional wrestling. There's a clear shift in what the fans want. Fans don't want sports entertainment anymore. WWE clearly knows how to do professional wrestling. WWE clearly knows how to write a professional wrestling storyline. They just opt not to. They hate everything that comes with professional wrestling. They hate the word, they hate the meaning and the definition, and they hate the fucking fact that the fans know they are still, at heart, a professional wrestling company. WWE doesn't portray themselves as that. They make us seem like idiots and use different words and language that only caters to the WWE universe. It's sports entertainment. You know, there was 24 minutes of wrestling on a 2-hour episode of SmackDown this past week. It might have been even less than that, 22 minutes. AEW had, I think, 25 or 26 minutes in their 1-hour show. 22 minutes of pro wrestling on a 2-hour show? I don't know how anybody lets WWE get away with that. People turn a blind eye to that. There's a clear shift in what fans want. Professional wrestling is making a comeback, and that is thanks because of Tony Khan and AEW. WWE will soon realize that sports entertainment isn't what the fans want anymore. It's ridiculous. They pretend to be something that they're really not. They do everything to clear their past and shit on their past and not really embrace the talent that they have on these shows that are being neglected. WWE will find out quicker than anything with the surge of AEW right now that sports entertainment isn't their only option. Sports entertainment is now more of an alternative than anything. Meanwhile, AEW is the #1 destination for professional wrestling. Guys, I have no more to give you. I'm getting out of here. If you enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoyed this discussion, let me know. Let me know down below in the comment section. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. And also, guys, Magic Spoon, magicspoon.com. That is magicspoon.com/scripts. You're going to use that link and get $5 off any purchase right now on their website. Guys, thank you very much. Follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206. Hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button like I said. I will see you guys back live on Monday night for Monday Night's Raw. Roman Reigns and the Bloodline versus Big E and the New Day. Desperation. See you guys then.